The GDP growth is attractive. So if if the Philippines is attractive, it also means that chances are they would be willing to invest in this market. So funds will go back to the Philippines. Another one is a more realistic EPS growth. So assuming that yung EPS growth natin is mag-stabilize na, yung PE ratios mo in which the valuations are being based in would also stabilize and normalize, and hopefully it would reflect the real price of the company, and sooner or later malalaman nyo na medyo mura pala siya ngayon, and at which time you will begin to buy. Most investors will begin to buy. So another one is improved liquidity conditions. Also, there are other plays naman na nakikita namin this year. First, we have election play, the battered stocks, the sectoral plays, and I will explain that as we go along. So, our playbook for this year, I will explain those mentioned earlier ago. So, first, we have to play with the unlocked. Total, tapos naman na yung Valentine's, hindi naman dapat natin paglaruan yung mga umiibig. Sa stock market, pwede natin paglaruan yung mga unlocked. So these unlocked stocks, as reflected in our stock screen, are those stocks that have high earnings potential, but the prices are currently battered because of some maybe rumor or a negative sentiment that is being enveloped in the stock. That means, bagsak yung presyo niya for whatever reason, but if you're going to dissect the financial statements and the earnings performance, it shows potential. It has moving forward earnings growth. So, ibig sabihin, mura siya ngayon, hindi lang pa siya masyadong na-appreciate as of the moment. Also, another thing is that for 2019, we expect this market to be more volatile as compared to the previous ones. So those with have higher PEs will be more volatile. Tatamaan siya. So if the market decides to go down, chances are those stocks that are already at a high level and high PE have a higher chance to go down. Unlike these ones, these stocks, nasa baba na siya, so wala na siya masyadong ibababa pa. So, that's it. Another play that we are currently looking into is the election play. So if you're going to observe, a lot of things are happening during the election season. So who will be the beneficiaries of these election season? First, we have the consumers, the automotives and the media firms. I'll have to explain this on a retail level siguro. During the election season, senators, presidents, or even at the barangay captain level, nagpapamigay yan ng mga retail, mga products nila, whether it be canned goods or food, pinamimigay nila yan. So that means more sales, more top line for the retailers or the consumer staples. But we have to take note that inflation levels are still high, and in producing these goods also, nagkakaroon tayo ng possible hit on the margins because as of this moment, there are a lot of laws. During the time of President Duterte, itong week lang ito actually, we have a lot of laws which were passed. And most of those laws are kind of populist in nature. It's all for the benefit of the people. An example is yung Universal Healthcare Bill, yung Expanded Maternity Act, and I think yung fight against endo is still ongoing. So all of this will somehow have an effect on labor costs, and it will hit the employers and businessmen. So they have no choice but to increase the prices. So kaya this time, medyo baka magkaroon tayo ng hit sa consumer sentiment. Just have to take note also that as of third quarter of 2018, negative ang ating consumer sentiment. When President Duterte started his term, nasa positive pa tayo, positive consumer sentiment. But as the quarters goes on, bumababa tayo. Another thing, automotives. Hindi lang naman din food ang pinamimigay, some also cars. Also, they also need the automotive vehicles for their campaigns. They need to go from one place to another, so car sales will go up. And some firms, some automotive firms, can do your research. For example, GTCAP and Ayala Core are, for example, GTCAP is projecting a 5% increase in their sales for 2019 as compared to the decline last 2018. And that will be apparent this year. And one more thing, media firms. Dalawa lang naman to ngayon, si ABS at si GMA7. Oh, by the way, these stocks that are being mentioned are just for examples only. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is the recommendation of FirstMetroSec. I'm just showing up all these stocks, saying all these names, just to give an example. Okay? So going back, see ABS-CBN and GMA7, we already have an established sentiment that during election season, prices of the stock will go up. But we have to take note that as of the last quarter of 2018, yung latest financial statements niya, both firms registered a decline in their advertising revenues. That's why net income nila also took a hit. Why? Because of social media. Lately, right now, some advertisers, promoters would rather go to the internet because it is cheaper and it has a wider coverage as compared to the traditional media. But then again, it is debatable because after all, medyo malawak naman din ang coverage ng TV, and as a manufacturer or as a seller, you would want to take advantage of all possible media. So there's still market for these firms, but it would not be as big compared to what they have been experiencing over the last years. Not to mention that there is another law passed last week, that is giving discounts, additional discounts to campaign-related media. So yung opportunity nila to earn money for this season was cut down because of that law. So what else? So we have the property and the infra play. We have the build program. I think Justin have already explained the build program in detail, but the concerns are the budget now has been passed, but the president hasn't signed it yet. So I think baka by March 1 it will be signed, so I guess that won't be a problem. But another problem is that there is a COMELEC exemption underway because during election season, you are not allowed to spend money. So medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng expense freeze. If you're going, who are the people from government here? Mga nagtatrabaho sa government? Anyone? Okay, wala masyado. So those who are working in the government would realize and they would know that nagkaroon din ng freeze hiring. So in terms of gastos, medyo tigil sila. Freeze hiring, tigil din sila. It's because of the election season. Mostly this is due to check and balances, and this is in the constitution din naman. So another thing is, for property sector, we're still enjoying strong office demand. We have to take note that it's currently rampant as of the moment. Yung mga Philippine offshore gaming operators natin, they are quite aggressive in acquiring properties in prime areas. So that is still a leading driver for these property firms. Also, the cement stocks natin is currently undervalued, but with reason. It's probably because of higher costs. It has always been a problem by especially the importers, especially the foreign ones like Cemex and Holsec. They have been experiencing problems because they have limited capacity, so they have to import. And recently, the DTI has passed a sanction, a safeguard measure, that if you're going to import, you would have to pay additional cost. And if you import yung cement, more or less, you've already taken a hit on your margins. So, medyo not yet good for cement stocks, but as soon as the build rolls out officially and all these possible risks have been taken off, it will take off na rin naturally.